So we are now a month into this championship season, so I thought it would be a good time to go ahead and modify my predictions from the start of the season. When I did my initial prediction video on YouTube, a couple of things have changed since then. You know, we had another month of the loan transfer window. A lot of the squads and players have changed since then, and some of my opinions have changed as well. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing, guys, we're going to be going ahead and looking at my predictions from the start of the season. I'm going to be slightly modifying them as to whether I think a team will finish higher or lower than where I initially predicted them to finish. So before we go ahead and get into modifying my predictions from the start of the season, as you can see on screen now, guys, that is how the championship is currently lining up after 6 games have been played. So in the bottom 3 currently, we've got Reading, Ipswich and QPR, with Reading and Ipswich yet to get a win so far this season. Then as the top 6, we've got Bristol City, Brentford, Derby County, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough and Leeds. So obviously with 6 games, there's still a lot of time for teams to go ahead and switch around the championship at the moment. But what I find really interesting is this, as you can see now, guys, is the championship table at this time last season. And as you can see, what's probably most interesting about this is Leeds United have the exact same goal difference and the exact same points as they did this time last season. So I think that goes to prove that quite a lot can change in the course of a championship season. Obviously, Leeds went ahead and finished 13th last season after having a flying start to the season. Cardiff were in first. Obviously, they went on to get automatic promotion that year. Wolves were in third. They also went on to get automatic promotion. Ipswich in fourth. They had a really good start. So did Sheffield United, quite similar to this season. At the bottom of the table, it's also very interesting to look at. We had Bolton, who were bottom. They, of course, survived in the end on the last day. Brentford were in 23rd position after just 6 games had been played, only on 3 points. They had a disastrous start to last season, and in the end of it, they were challenging for the playoffs come the final day of the season. So it's fair to say that quite a lot can change, and we shouldn't really be writing any team off in the championship after this early start. But we will now move on in the video, guys. So as you can see on screen now, guys, there were my predictions at the start of the season. So you have to take into consideration that a ball hadn't been kicked when I went ahead and predicted this table, and the transfer window still hadn't shut. So what we're going to be doing for this video, guys, we're going to be going over each team. We're going to be going from the bottom to the top of the championship, and I'm basically going to be saying whether I think a team will finish higher or lower or in the same position as I initially predicted them. So we'll see how my predictions have changed since then. So coming in 24th position, I was predicting it to be Rotherham, and obviously all of these predictions could still come true. It's still very early days in the championship, but so far I don't think Rotherham have looked awful, and I am going to say that they will finish higher than 24th position. I think that I see quite a lot of similarities between Rotherham now and Burton Albion when they were first promoted to the championship. They've got a very hard-working squad, got a really good team ethic in there, and I think that will serve them well over a full championship season. And their home form so far, they've looked good. Away from home, though, they may struggle in a couple of games. If I had to put my neck on the line, I'd probably say that yes, they will be relegated, but I don't think they will finish bottom. In at 23rd, we then have Bolton Wanderers, and Bolton are on the other side, who I'm going to say will finish higher than where I initially predicted them to finish. When I was predicting them to finish in 23rd, they still had quite a bare squad and still needed quite a few incomings. They've gone ahead and done that. They've been quite busy in this transfer window, and some of their signings have really impressed me. The start they made to this season as well, absolutely exceptional. Of course, their latest game going ahead and drawing 2-2 with my side, Preston North End. I said in my last video of the championship roundup that there seems to be a bit of a different mentality around Bolton this season. I think that, you know, in that game, if that was happening last season against Preston, when they went 2-0 down, I'm not sure we would have seen that fight back for them, but there seems to be a different mentality around Bolton this season, and I think that will serve them well, and I am going to say that they will survive this season. In our 22nd position, we then have Reading, currently sat at bottom of the championship. In my opinion, they could potentially finish lower than where I initially predicted them to finish. Now, it's a bit of a tricky situation with Reading at the moment, because a lot of the performances they were putting in, you know, their first 2 or 3 games of the season, they probably should have got a better result than they actually did, judging by the performances that they were putting in. You know, it's a very hard-working Reading side, but I still question whether they've got all the quality in there to go ahead and survive this season in the championship. Paul Clement is their manager. I'm still not completely sold on him. I think he's a very good coach, but in terms of a manager, I still think he's got quite a lot to learn. I think that some Reading fans have sort of been split by whether they want him to stay on as their manager or not. So Reading could potentially finish lower than that. In that 21st position, I was saying that that will be Hull City, and I'm actually going to go ahead and say that, yeah, I still agree with where I was putting Hull City initially. They are currently sat there in the table at this point in time as well, and a lot of the things I was saying in my prediction video has been true so far of Hull City. Going forward, they've not looked too bad. They've gone ahead and scored 6 goals so far, but defensively is where Hull fall apart. They've already gone ahead and conceded 11 goals so far this season, a lot of them originating from silly individual errors as well, and that's something that I think will drag Hull down this season. I don't think they'll be relegated, but I think they will be flirting experimenting with it throughout the season. So I'm still going to say that Hull will finish in 21st position. At 20th, I then had Wigan Athletic, and I'm going to say that Wigan will finish quite a bit higher than 20th. I think they could maybe be in and around mid-table this season, but I think that a lot of the signings they made on transfer deadline day very impressed me. The likes of Joe Garner and Josh Windass. I think they've got a very good core of players there in that Wigan squad. It's a very hard-working side, and going forward, they've looked very good so far this season. Will Griggs looked like he's going to make the step up to the Championship this season, and they've got a lot of good options in that Wigan Athletic squad. Their midfield's very good, their defence is strong, and they've got a very good goalkeeper. So Wigan, I don't think they're going to go down this season. I think they will probably finish higher than 20th. Up next, we then have QPR to go ahead and talk about. Currently, they do have the worst defensive record in the Championship, conceding 13 goals, most of them coming in that 7-1 thrashing they had against West Brom. QPR, I am going to say they could finish lower than 19th because I probably think that they will. Obviously, their last two results have been very positive against Wigan Athletic and Birmingham, and their performances have shown signs of improvement against those two sides, but I still feel as if when they come against teams who will be finishing in the top half this season, their defence will be exposed this season. I think that that's something that they can't help. Obviously, they will be under a transfer embargo in January as well. That's going to add to the pressure on Steve McClaren this season, who I'm not convinced by at all at QPR. I think that it wouldn't surprise me if he was to be sacked at some point this season. So for QPR, I'm going to say they will still finish lower than 19th, although they did make two positive signings in Tom Mohamed and Naki Wells. Then in that 18th position, I had predicted it to be Ipswich Town. I'm going to say that they will finish lower than that this season, although I still think they will be in and around 18th. I don't think they will be relegated. I've seen a lot of people who are predicting Ipswich to be relegated. Of course, they are one of the sides so far this season who are yet to win a game, and a lot of change has been made over Ipswich this season. They've lost a lot of their big players from last year, you know, Martin Marcon being the main example of that, and they brought in a lot of talent, a lot of them from the lower leagues, when that's always a bit of a risk. But I still feel as if they have enough to survive in the Championship this season, and there probably still will be three worse sides than Ipswich. Paul Hurst so far been the manager who's not shied away from the big decisions, obviously dropping Bilkowski against Norwich City, where they went ahead and drew that game 1-1 in the end. Could potentially go down. I think they will finish lower than 18th, but they may just survive this season. In that 17th, we then have Birmingham City, another club who is yet to win a game so far this season, drawing 4 of their first 6 games so far, and obviously then losing their other 2. Birmingham so far, I still feel as if they've been very unlucky with some of their performances not to go ahead and get more from a game than they've actually gone ahead and got in the end. The only exception for that will be the QPR game, where I felt they were lucky to get a point in that game. But I feel like when Birmingham are playing to their strengths, they are quite a good side, you know, playing through the midfield, getting it out to the wings for players like Magoma and Jota, and then trying to provide something for their striker. I still feel as if goals may be a problem for Birmingham this season, because in some of their games so far, you know, we've seen them create a flurry of chances and then be very wasteful with them. You know, the Swansea game springs to mind when I think of that. But I feel as if they will be in around 17th this season. They'll be a hard side to beat under Gary Monk. The wins, I think, may start picking up later in the season, but I don't think they'll go down, although I don't see them finishing much higher than 17th. Then I have Blackburn Rovers to finish in 16th position. I'm going to say that they will finish a little bit higher than that. I don't really see them challenging for the playoffs this season, but I think they will get a comfortable mid-table finish, maybe around 14th or a little bit higher than that. Obviously, their last performance against Bristol City was nothing to shout about, as they were dismantled by 4-1 away from home. But every performance apart from that, I've been very impressed by Blackburn so far in this Championship season. I think a lot of their players have made the step up so far. Bradley Dack, when he gets back fit, will be an excellent player for them this season. Charlie Mulgrew's looking very good so far. They've got a very hard working midfield, and they've now got pace going forward with the likes of Adam Armstrong and Ben Brereton. So I'm going to say that Blackburn will finish a little bit higher than 16th position. Millwall in 15th, I'm going to say that they will still finish there. I'm going to agree with where I put them from the start of the season. So far, they've now gone ahead and lost their last 3 games in the Championship, so they're having a bit of a rough patch in the Championship at the moment, but I think I've seen enough of Millwall this season to go ahead and suggest that it will be another solid mid-table finish for them. Last season, they were, of course, battling it out at the top of the Championship, pushing for the playoffs. I don't see that being the case this season unless they go ahead and pick up some momentum later in the season, but I still see them finishing in around 15th. For Norwich, I'm going to say will finish a little bit lower than 14th. Once again, not a club who I think will really be threatened by relegation, but I think they will be in the region of lower mid-table this season, and around 14th to 18th is where I see Norwich City finishing this season. Daniel Farke, another one of those managers in the Championship who's yet to convince me if he is the right man for the job at Norwich City. Going forward, they've had some great options so far. Timu Puki's looked good in patches, shows Jordan Rhodes and Onel Hernandez, but defensively they have looked absolutely all over the place so far. And And this Norwich side to me just seems to be a little bit disjointed, and it's sort of carrying on from last season. We've not really seen a big elevation in their performances so far, so I'm going to say that they will finish slightly lower than 14th. For Bristol City, I will say that they will finish higher than 13th this season. Obviously, their last performance with Jeju returning, going ahead and beating Blackburn Rovers by 4 goals to 1. They're currently sat in the playoffs. Will they make it into the top 6 this season? They've got a real chance to do so, you know. They're quite an unpredictable side, Bristol City. Going forward, they look very good so far. Weiman's been an excellent capture for them, and no doubt they are a very exciting team to watch. I still feel as if they will be a little bit too inconsistent to go ahead and make the top 6 this season. They seem to be, you know, a bit all over the place with how their form goes over a full season, but I will say that Bristol City will finish higher than 13th. I just don't think they'll make the top 6 yet. And in at the midpoint of this championship table, I had Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to agree with where I had them initially put. I am going to say that they will still finish 12th this season. They're actually in a very good run of form at the moment. They've gone ahead and won their last 3 games, and already this season we've sort of seen the best and worst of Sheffield Wednesday with some of the performances they put in. Defensively, I think that when you put that defence under real scrutiny, there will be individual mistakes there. The goalkeeper situation is a bit of an odd one at Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, but going forward, they definitely have players who can hurt you. I think it will be a solid finish for them this season. 12th, I'll still say. And our next one is a very interesting team to go ahead and predict, and I'm interested to see where you guys are placing Aston Villa at the moment. In my initial prediction video, I had them to finish in 11th. When I was predicting them to finish there, they hadn't really done much transfer business at all. Obviously, since then, they've done a lot of business. You know, they've signed the likes of Tammy Abraham, Yannick Bolasie, El Ghazi, and John McGinn and Nyland. So they've done a lot of business since I made that initial prediction video. Currently, Aston Villa are sat 12th in the table, and not everyone is completely convinced by Steve Bruce. And myself, I'm one of those people. The squad that Aston Villa currently have, there are no excuses why they shouldn't be challenging for automatic promotion this season, in my opinion. And if Steve Bruce isn't the right man for the job, you know, Villa are going to have to act on that sooner rather than later, or they're going to have a whole another season of a transition year where a manager's going to have to try and get them playing in a different style. But centre-back is a position where I feel like Aston Villa are quite light at the moment. There are currently rumours going around that they could potentially be re-signing John Terry. In my opinion, that would be a very good addition for them. But I will say they will finish higher than 11th place because their starting 11 is just too good to go ahead and finish that low in the championship. However, under Steve Bruce and with the form they're showing at the moment, I'm not so sure. You know, their performances haven't really been great so far. You know, against Sheffield United, they were an absolute shambles. They were all over the place. But even with that, I still think they should finish higher than 11th. In at 10th, I had Swansea City. I'm still going to agree with where I initially put Swansea for this championship prediction video. They're currently sat 7th in the championship, and I think that over the full season, they will be in and around the playoffs, you know, go ahead and dropping in and out of them. But I feel like come the end of the day, they will just miss out on them. I feel like depth in a couple of positions Swansea are still struggling with. You know, they had, on the whole scheme of things, they had quite a disappointing transfer window. I think that with how long this championship season is, if a couple of injuries do hit in to the Swansea squad, we could see them drop further and further back from the playoffs. But going forward, they've definitely got some exciting players this season. Ollie McBurney and Jefferson Montero so far absolutely tearing it up. I'd love to see Montero start more games for Swansea, but I still feel as if they will be in and around 10th this season. They could surprise me. In 9th position, I then had Sheffield United, and they're going to be another side who I'm actually going to agree with where I initially put them in my championship predictions. Now, don't get me wrong, Sheffield United are certainly a team who have the capability of going ahead and making it into the playoffs this season. They are currently under a fantastic run of form with how Chris Wilder has this team playing. In their last game, they went ahead and battered Aston Villa by 4 goals to 1. Last season as well, they had a very good start to the championship season. You know, that's not something new we've seen from Sheffield United, and they can score goals from midfield. The only reason why I'm going to say they won't make it into the top 6 this season is I still feel as if they're missing that name talisman going forward. Billy Sharp could be that player for them this season, but I don't see Leon Clark scoring as many goals as he did last season. David McGoldrick, a good link-up player, but not really a clinical finisher. And with Connor Washington, I'm not so sure whether he's completely cut out to the championship, but we'll see. Time will tell with Sheffield United. Definitely could prove me wrong and could make it into the top 6 this season. I'm going to say they'll finish 9th. Still a good position for them. I had Leeds United to go ahead and finish in 8th position, and I will say they will finish higher than that this season. I do think they will make it into the top 6 this season, but the interesting debate about Leeds United, in my opinion, is whether we think they'll make it into automatic promotion or not. Obviously, we saw at the start of the video they had an identical start to what they've done this season last season. They went ahead and picked up 14 points in their first 6 games of the championship, and we're looking very good at that stage. Last season, after 6 games, they just come off the back of beating Burton Albion by 5 goals to 0, where these were the stats after that game. They had 30 shots compared to Burton Albion's 1. They had 69% possession and were absolutely dominating games. Lasogga looked like he'd absolutely be a world beater that season, and the whole squad was looking very well set up, and then it just slowly started started to unravel for their season. Obviously, they then went ahead and finished 13th that year. I do sense that there is a different mentality, though, about Leeds last year than there is this season. You know, under Marcelo Bielsa, he's a very capable manager. He's really gone ahead and showed that with his tactical nous. The only thing that deters me from thinking that Leeds will make it into automatic promotion this year is their squad players aren't on the same level as their first team players, in my opinion at least. I don't think, in terms of squad depth, I think there are other clubs in this championship season who do have a better all-round squad. Their starting 11 is absolutely fantastic, and the way they're playing at the moment, it's hard that anyone's going to, you know, break into that. But when injuries do start to set in for this Leeds side, I'm interested to see how they'll go ahead and adapt to that this season. So for Leeds, I do think they will make it into the top 6. Top 2 though, what do you guys think? In 7th, I then have Brentford. I do think that Brentford will make it into the top 6 this season. I think over the past couple of years in the Championship, Brentford have sort of flirted with the playoffs but always have fallen short. I see a bit of a different mentality about this squad this season. I think that they will score an absolute bucket load. They've been a lot more clinical with the games I've seen them play so far this season. And I do see quite a lot of similarities between this Brentford side and Fulham last season. I think that, you know, the sheer amount of chances they create, the one-touch football they play in midfield, they can hurt you from all different areas of the pitch. They have a lot of different players who will get into double figures this season as well, in my opinion. And all of that accumulates to make a very good Brentford side, who are also a very hard team to go ahead and break down. So for Brentford, I do see them finishing in the playoffs this season. I think they are a very well-run club. Then in that 6th position, we did have my team, Preston North End. I will say that we will finish lower than 6th position. Now, if you do go back to my prediction video from the start of the season, I did actually say that Sean Maguire is going to be crucial for our season, and if he manages to stay fit, I do think we will make it into the playoffs. And about 2 days after I made that video, he went ahead and got injured for like 2 months or something, so not ideal. And I think that does, you know, sort of let me off the hook a little bit. Obviously, we've not started the season very well. Going forward, we looked a little bit limp without Maguire, and defensively, we've been absolutely all over the place recently. We have been unlucky with injuries. We've already had 3 or 4 first-team players out injured, and I do think we will turn it around this season. You know, we are currently sat around about 20th in the table, but I do think we will turn that around this season, and I think we'll have a comfortable mid-table finish. And depending on when Sean Maguire gets back into this team and a couple of other first-team players who have been out injured, I still see us having the potential to go ahead and challenge for the top 6 this season. But once again, I feel like we may fall short with some of the injuries we've gone ahead and picked up. In our 5th, we had Nottingham Forest, another side who I am going to say will finish lower than that this season. Forest so far have been a bit uninspiring in my opinion. Under Aitor Karanka this season, with some of the signs they made, I was really excited to see some fast attacking football being played, but that's not really been the case. The midfields look quite slow so far. Defensively, they've not looked brilliant either. And for Forest, they've had some good performances. You know, in the cup against Newcastle, they were looking very good, but then they were all sort of brought back down to earth with their performance at the weekend. On paper, that Nottingham Forest squad definitely has the potential to go ahead and make it into the top 6 this season, but I feel like, judging how the start of the season has gone for them, it's probably going to be another one of those transition years where they're trying to bed a lot of players into this first 11. Karanka probably doesn't know his best starting team yet either, so it's going to be a process for Forest, and I probably don't see them making it into the playoffs. In our 4th, I then had West Brom, and I'm actually going to agree with my initial prediction for them. I had them to finish in 4th position. I still see that being a fairly realistic prediction for West Brom. Going forward, they've got some absolutely fantastic options. The likes of Jay Rodriguez, Dwight Gale, Harvey Barnes, and Matty Phillips have all looked superb linking up so far. I don't think that Sam Johnson has completely settled in at West Brom so far. He's had a couple of shaky performances, as have their back four as well. I think that if they do sort that out, they still have the potential to go ahead and challenge for the top 2 this season. You know, once again, one of those squads who, on paper, they do have a very good starting 11, but I'll stick with my prediction. I think they will be in around 4th. In 3rd position, I did have Middlesbrough. I'm actually going to say that they will finish higher than that this season. Defensively, they have been absolutely superb so far this season, only conceding 2 goals on the opening day of the season, and since that, they have not let a single goal in. Keeping 5 clean sheets so far is an absolutely magnificent job, especially considering some of the teams who they've gone ahead and played so far. Going forward, they've also got some very good options. Of course, they lost to Adama Traore, which I thought would be a massive blow for them. It is going to be a big blow, but I still think that going forward, they have the players in there who will create and score goals for them, and I do see Middlesbrough finishing in the top 2 this season. In our 2nd, I then had Derby County, and I am going to say that Derby will finish a little bit lower than my predicted finish for them. I was anticipating them to finish in automatic promotion. They could go ahead and do that. Their start to the season has been fairly positive under Frank Lampard. However, in my opinion, if I had to predict it now, I'd say that Derby will finish in the playoffs and probably not automatic. Obviously, Derby were very busy in this transfer window. Lampard's got a lot of new players to go ahead and bed into this starting 11, and I'd probably say that he doesn't doesn't know his best formula for a starting team this fall, but he'll get to learn more about his squad the further on the season goes. I see Derby as quite a similar team to Bristol City, actually. They are a team who rides on momentum. When things are going really well for them, you know, we can see them go ahead and win 5 games on the bounce, and then when things start to go a little bit wrong for them, they really go wrong, like they'll lose 5 games on the bounce. So Derby are a bit of a momentum team, and I think that that's the reason why they won't make it into automatic this season. They will be a little bit too inconsistent, but I do think they'll make it into the top 6, probably not second though. And for first place, I was predicting Stoke City to finish there, and I'm going to say they will finish lower than that. You know, so far this season they have been absolutely all over the place. Under Gary Rowett, he's really not been able to go ahead and find a formula for the Stoke City side to go ahead and play their football. However, I must say that I am still of the opinion that Stoke probably have the best starting 11 of any Championship side this season, so they really do still have no excuses. Making it into the playoffs, I think we could see a bit of a resurgence from them. You know, they can't be this poor all season, surely. Sooner rather than later, Gary Rowett's going to have to figure out something, because the talent on offer for this Stoke side is too good to be going ahead and be lingering in and around mid-table, in my opinion. Because they are probably going to have to play catch-up to a lot of the big sides in the Championship this season, I don't see them finishing in automatic promotion, and I can't see a lot of people predicting them to finish there at the moment either, with the way they're playing at the moment. But as you can see on screen now, guys, there are some of the modifications I would make to my Championship predictions. So if I had to call now, who do I think will be the 3 clubs getting relegated? In no particular order, I'm going to say they will be Reading, Rotherham and QPR. And then if I had to call my top 6 at this point in time in the season, in no particular order, the teams I put in that top 6 will be Middlesbrough, Leeds, Brentford, West Brom, Aston Villa and Derby County. Well guys, that will go ahead and wrap it up for this video. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. So let me know down below, who do you think will be making it into the top 6 this season, and who do you think will be the bottom 3? Well, like I said, that will now wrap it up. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. Also go ahead and subscribe for some regular Championship content, and you can go ahead and check out all the links in the description down below. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.